E3 2018, your home for the biggest show in gaming. Tag us on Twitter at IGN and use the hashtag E3 2018 to let us know what you think about all the big reveals coming out of Microsoft. Still ahead, we've got more Xbox demos, including Forza Horizon 4 next. But first, let's get into what we just saw. Joining me are Brandon, Miranda, and Ryan. Guys, that was a really great show.
That was phenomenal.
Oh, yeah. Still kind of shaking. It was very exciting. I thought it was awesome.
Tears for a second. Like, one of those announcements is super important to me. So
yeah.
I'm just...
So we got updates on a lot of Xbox exclusive games. We're getting DLC for State of Decay. We got PUBG updates. We got Sea of Thieves updates. But of course, Halo 6 opened the show. What did you guys think of that trailer?
I was blown away by a couple things. Number one, it was evocative of Halo 1, which I imagine is very, very much by design.
Right.
And number two, even more excitingly, as someone who's played every single Halo game, longtime Halo fan, we're on a new engine. They have rebuilt the technology. This is a brand new engine for Halo. And it's also just worth noting, whether it means anything or not, we've dropped numbers. No 6. This is Halo Infinite. We were in what was, the Reclaimer saga. So is this still part of that? Or after Halo 5, are we kind of taking a little bit of a reroute with the plot? I don't know. But the fact that this is evoking Halo 1 very intentionally on a brand new piece of technology makes me very, very excited.
Threw us at the start. We were like,
the wildlife.
Is this Halo? And then we were like, oh, it's totally Halo. But it took a while for us to figure that out.
That's right, yeah. I don't know where this takes place.
It's on Halo.
Yeah.
Oh, it is on Halo. That's right.
The
right
Halo
at the end of
teased
it.
at the end of Halo 5.
So it's awesome because at the very end we see Master Chief's helmet, and it puts what we were talking about before the conference. It puts Master Chief between the enemies of the universe and humanity, and I think that's exactly where he needs to be. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. It wasn't until we got to that cockpit that I was sure this was Halo. Beforehand, I'm going back to it. The wildlife was just very weird to me.
Yes.
Because that's not something that I think of when I think of Halo. Like, yeah, birds and stuff. So I'm really curious to see how built out and fully fleshed this is going to be.
There is a question of, is this, with such a space that we're seeing here in this teaser.
Sorry, I just noticed you can see the warthog in the reflection of the helmet.
Nice.
I didn't notice that at first. That's a cool touch.
Is this going to be open world? Is that a possibility
here? That's a really good
open world on
question.
a Halo? What happens when you get to the edge of the ring? Do you just fall off?
Oh, that's a good question.
How does that work?
But yeah, there it is. Halo Infinite.
I think it looks really, really beautiful. We have no idea what game it's going to be. Obvious focus on Chief, but they did kind of do that with 5 as well. We still had him in the trailer there, so we don't really know what that means. I think I like the name, though. I like the...
But I did, remember, I did say beforehand, the only main character we better see is him, and that's all we got.
We didn't see him first,
no lock, no,
We also got a little
build-up,
snippet of him putting an AI pack in the back of his helmet, meaning an AI or maybe Cortana again. So
I feel like it's probably a different AI.
It might be.
We'll see.
But it was, I mean, it was blue, though.
Yeah.
It
had that blue glow to it.
It's so funny to think, we saw another character, and it's just a little blue disc.
It's a chip, and we're all like, who is it? Oh, I'm so excited. It's crazy.
Yeah, like they emphasized that at the end of the conference as well in that reel. Like it was Chief putting in something in the back of his head.
As we suspected as well. I mean, all but confirmed by not saying anything. No 2018 for this game.
Oh, for sure.
Right.
But, which we expected, but
that's right.
Yeah, nothing there. So
I kind of wouldn't even be surprised if we don't find out the release date until next year's E3. Like maybe it's late next year.
Otherwise,
it'll
that's
be
the case.
Xbox,
But if it's
probably.
spring, like we were speculating before the conference began, I wonder if Gamescom could be the place where we get a first proper gameplay demo, a little more detail on what this game is and where it is and what that release date might be.
Yeah. So I also wanted to talk about those big first-party acquisitions.
Oh man,
this is a huge deal. Basically, they bought 5 studios.
5 studios.
Well, bought 4 and started 1.
And
That's
started
right.
1.
Yeah,
Sure. So we've got Santa Monica, Undead Labs, Ninja Theory, Playground,
Compulsion.
and Compulsion, who's working on We Happy Few. What do you guys make of this?
I think this is exactly what we predicted and we were expecting. Microsoft comes out.
I wasn't expecting 5.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
me either. I was like,
Right,
they're still going. Yeah.
Microsoft comes out, reaffirms their commitment to first party, to games, to gamers, and that is the Microsoft Santa Monica studio that we had heard they were doing their Quad A games called The Initiative, and I can't wait to see what comes out of that. It's going to be. I don't think we'll see a game from The Initiative on Xbox One. I think it'll be a next Xbox.
That's a great point. I mean, that was a lot of the reaction I saw on Twitter, which is fair. Like, most of these titles from these studios are probably not going to be primarily, they might be playable on an Xbox One, but they're going to be next generation Xbox games.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, Phil teasing even just mentioning a next-generation Xbox at the end of the conference.
Already hard at work on architecture.
Yeah, you're totally right, Brandon. But the fact of the matter is, the first-party solution that Microsoft has found themselves in over the last few years, there is no quick fix.
No.
It doesn't exist. So
you can't make a game in 6 months.
Yeah, you can't wallow in that. So you have to take this and say, well, yes, no, there is no immediate fix, but they're working on it. They're committed to it, and as time goes on and we build towards this next generation Xbox that Phil Spencer just acknowledged, we've got a much larger stable of first-party studios with a lot of talent on board to make these games. And one of those games mentioned was not Fable. So that's still to come.
Sorry,
That's
Alana.
right.
It really did break my heart a little bit, not having Fable mentioned there. I was like, I was holding out for it, but it's okay. I feel like this was a really solid show with a lot of stuff that was exciting for me.
Yes.
So if we had 50 games, I think it was 18 console exclusives.
Right.
There were a bunch of launch exclusives in there. So
I think this conference sort of encapsulates what Microsoft has done well the last couple of years, which is, your big tentpole franchises, your indie darlings. I mean, how cute was Tunic, right?
Oh my goodness.
With the ID at Xbox program, you had head of engineering come out and talk about what they're doing on a tech side, and Microsoft's very firmly entrenched in the tech side of the console industry. And you had just basically an announcement from every angle talking about the present and the future. I think they knocked it out of the park. I think this was a great conference.
This was their best. I mean, I think they've generally put on a very good conference every year. This was one of their best ever. I mean, this was just start to finish. So much good stuff. I mean, you can't help but you have to find something you like.
Right, like there's a little something for everyone here, I think, and it's just nice to see that and then not mention anything about entertainment or all the shows.
The Game Pass block was a little bit of a lull, but it was a long conference too. It was jam-packed with a lot of good stuff.
Like 100 minutes, something like that.
Yeah.
So it was quite long. And outside of what you were talking about, there's a little bit of a sag in the middle. But we're talking about Game Pass. We're talking about the engineering side, the tech side of it. And then right out the other side, it was more games, more announcements, more world premieres.
And I really want to just throw to our reaction to when the Gears of War, the COG logo came up on the screen. We were like, oh, it's finally here. And then a Pop Funko figure comes out. And we were like, no.
And I was like, no. I was like, is this going to be their announcement? But they had more games. Like you said, the rumor of 3 games.
Yeah.
It happened.
3 games.
Yeah.
Tactics. I want to know who's developing Gears Tactics.
Me too.
Yeah.
Is it the coalition? Presumably, I mean, I've got to figure it's in partnership with someone in the same way that 343 partnered up with Creative Assembly on Halo Wars.
Yeah, for sure. It has to be some kind of partnership. It looks really cool to me. Like, I'm actually excited about this one.
That's a game I definitely want to play.
Yeah.
Of course, Gears 5.
Yes. So, must say, I did not hear the entirety of the Gears 5 trailer. We were like scrambling and being like, I can't hear everything they're saying.
That's right.
But it looked very good.
Yeah. I want to start by adding Gears 5, no, not Gears of War.
Yeah.
Oh, good point.
Yeah.
So
That's right, the logo.
I wonder what the sort of impetus for that is,
Yeah.
and what sort of if there's an explanation for that,
It's
or
just
if it's
their
just a
logo?
rebrand.
There's no
or-
war. There's no war. It's gone.
or-
The
yeah.
war's
It's
over.
done.
Oh, it's a dating sim. Excellent.
Yeah. It's all about mechanics now.
I can't tell you how happy it made me to see Marcus Phoenix still there. I talked about that exact thing before we went before the conference started. It's just he's too good a character. John DiMaggio, too good a voice actor. I'm so glad he's still along for the ride.
But it is worth mentioning, it seems like this is a little bit in the future. JD Phoenix looks quite different. He's got a shaved head. He's got a big scar on his face.
And a big problem with his arm.
He's a full-grown man now. Yeah, look at him.
Perhaps at least the most exciting thing for me is when Rod was out on the stage saying, we're following her adventure. We're following Kate's adventure. And
I love Kate.
So,
Miranda had a full-blown meltdown.
a brown woman as a lead in a AAA shooter just was like,
There was some tears. There was some tears involved.
yeah,
she's a really strong character.
I love her character a lot. I love to see this evolution of like focusing on building out the Gears universe even more and seeing this trio's adventure, of course, with Marcus and everybody involved. And
I'm totally with you, Ryan. Seeing Marcus in the background was like very important to me as a staple of the series. Everyone really attached to him. But I also think,
didn't have any doubt about that.
Yeah, but I also think this grouping of characters and it was the emotional setting. There was no Gary Jules Mad World like I was hoping for, but. It just shows Gears as a game that's about family, really.
Yeah.
It is about being part of Delta Squad and always feeling like you're part of Delta Squad. And I feel like that vibe is definitely still here as well.
And Alana, you talked about the heart of Gears of War. Which,
Yeah.
the sort of almost ironic heart. This game about these big, burly meathead guys. But it
Size of
turns
tree
out
trunks.
there's so much heart to Gears, and that's our first taste of Gears 5. it just doubles down on that. We watched a cutscene before we got some, by the way, really impressive gameplay.
Oh my gosh,
snippets to look at as well.
It looked like there were some new weapons in there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, new variants of the Swarm.
Yeah.
I can't believe we saw more Gears 5 than Halo Infinite.
Yeah, that was surprising.
Which was kind of cool, kind of crazy.
I kind of figured it was going to be that way. Since it has been so long since we've heard anything about Halo, I think they are doubling down on making sure they get this right. And they want to show it when they're ready to probably get close to putting it out.
Well, I'm kind of wondering, release date-wise, if this does mean we're getting both Halo and Gears next year.
I think we are.
I think
it's going to happen.
How do you think they're going to time that?
I think Gears will go first, Halo goes second. I think you're maybe...
Really?
Yeah. Well, I mean, based off what we've seen, right? We saw much more Gears than we saw of Halo.
True.
So I'm, throwing it out, like just throwing a dart out. Gears in late spring, maybe the early summer, and then Halo in the fall.
Gears 4 came out a year after Halo 5. So there's a pretty big gap there.
If we put our speculation hats on, that makes me wonder if they went just totally back to the ground, built it from the ground up. Halo,
well, clearly with the new engine, right? Yeah. That's fair to say. But yeah, I mean, could they both be fall titles? I do think Halo would still come first, just based on, again, previous timeline. But you're right, it's not impossible. And I mean, could they come out swinging with Gears in October and Halo in November this year? Next year, rather? It could happen.
It could, but you also have to remember they've got to bring in 3 Gears games into that marketing cycle as well. I know the other 2 they probably don't expect to be as heavy hitters, but they have to consider it somehow. So I don't know when we're going to find that out. Maybe we'll get a little more information at Gamescom. But I just wanted to remind everyone that we've got all the press conferences you can handle here on IGN, like Ubisoft and PlayStation on Monday, and the Nintendo Showcase and Treehouse Live on Tuesday, plus the Fortnite 50v50 Celebrity Pro-Am only on IGN.com. So you're pretty much booked for the next week. But we still have plenty more Microsoft stuff to talk about. Cyberpunk.
Ooh.
That's what we saw at the very end. Yeah. And that was probably the heavy hitter for me. That was the thing I was most excited to see. It was so colorful.
I think so too. And just a quick aside, I love the way they introduced it. Phil Spencer says, "Thanks for coming." Static.
Oh yeah, and we've never seen that before. We've never seen anyone take over the font of like the launch or the world exclusive logo that they have. Someone actually managed to replace that.
I think this is excellent. I mean, what I'm seeing, look, we don't know much about it now, but what I'm seeing is a super big, well-realized world of like the gritty future where technology is just part of everyday life, and people are, they don't bat an eyelash at it,
Right. But just going to what Alana said, like having it be so bright and colorful is unexpected, right? Because a lot of times we get these cyberpunk setting, it's like kind of dark, but it has that neon lining on it.
Yeah.
And this is just so much cooler than that.
And I love that too. Like, you don't have to have a dystopian future where technology and mankind have fused into one and have it be gray and brown and gritty and visceral. Yeah, it can be colorful and fun.
Exactly. I appreciate that this, no disrespect, obviously, to The Witcher, but this is different in every conceivable way, certainly from an artistic and tone and setting perspective.
Looks like a different studio.
It really does, and that's just showcases the talent on hand at CD Projekt Red. So I can't not wait to see this.
There's a lot of seemingly it's not VR, that people are plugged into something.
Yeah.
There's a lot of shots of that, and like people having to pull something out of the backs of their heads. That's really interesting.
Yeah, I don't know if that's like a ubiquitous consciousness that everyone just sort of plugs into, or if that's just the level of technology now. But it seems like everyone is jacked into something.
But I feel like there's a lot to pick apart in this too.
Yeah, we've only got a minute left to talk about it, but I did want to say maybe there's some kind of like Matrix tie-in that we're going to see there with people being plugged into some kind of cyber world, that maybe there are 2 separate universes that we can jump between.
Could be. Cool. Almost a Ready Player One kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a kid using like a VR headset, so there's still that sort of technology incorporated, so it's not like they just have to close their eyes and they're somewhere else.
So what do you want it to be? Do you want it to be like GTA style, or do you want it to be more of a Witcher style?
I do want a role-playing game still.
Yeah,
I mean, that
it
would
is a role-playing game. We
Yeah.
know that much, so it is going to be a role-playing game, but what about a match between the 2?
Yeah.
We want it to be open world, of course. I don't
Yeah.
want to have to jump between loading screens to get between things.
The shot at the end with the guy in the car makes me think that this is going to be not so Witcher as far as linear. You ride a horse from town to town. Like, you're going to have freeways. You're going to have cities.
Absolutely.
I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, there's a lot going on, a lot to explore.
Bar mini games maybe like GTA. Fighting mini games like GTA. Like there's
Real
cars
Steel.
around here. There's people doing makeup. Is that a mini game? Like, I don't know, but I wonder if we'll find out some more about Cyberpunk 2077 from CD Projekt Red very soon. You've been watching IGN Live at E3 2018, the best place to be for all the latest gameplay, exclusive first looks, and hands-on demos you can handle. If you want all your E3 bases covered, keep watching us at IGN.com, download our app, and tune in to us on Disney XD. Welcome back to IGN Live at E3 2018. Coming up, Microsoft's own Aaron Greenberg is stopping by to give us some Xbox secrets. But before we get to that, let's take a moment to process the metric ton of bombs Microsoft dropped at their press conference today. And to help me sort through it, we've got Damon Hatfield and Lucy O'Brien. What did you guys think of Microsoft's showcase?
Overall?
Yeah.
I thought it was a good showing this year. Very good showing. They just had game after game after game after game. Didn't spend
Had a little bit of Game Pass and then more game.
Yeah. Didn't spend too much time talking about ancillary stuff like Game Pass and stuff.
Yeah.
Just some specific highlights that stood out to me: Cyberpunk, Tomb Raider, Shadows Die Twice.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a really strong showing. I loved the epic quantity of games.
I know.
But I also really like at the end that we were teased a bit about the future of Microsoft's next console.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Bill
thought that
said
was a really bold thing to do.
Didn't expect it at all.
No.
Yeah, but I wanted to talk to you guys first about Fallout 76 and what we actually saw of that. This is the first time we've seen proper gameplay, seemingly, assuming that first tease wasn't any gameplay. And I still don't know what the game is.
Yeah.
What are you guys thinking?
I remain excited to see what this game is.
Excited, question mark?
Yeah. I know we obviously will be seeing a lot more of it tonight at the Bethesda conference. It was nice to see it here, but it wasn't really enough to tell me exactly what the game is yet.
Yeah, well, the rumors are that it's going to be some kind of open-world multiplayer survival game online rather than a usual Fallout. There's no way this is Fallout 5. Obviously, it's not called that, but I really don't think it's going to be the same single-player experience we're used to. And one thing that makes me think that is there's a part in this demo where we saw the Brotherhood of Steel armor just sitting under a bit of sand, and there were so many people that walked past it, and I think that that's potentially them alluding to how many people are going to be in the Wasteland.
That's interesting. Yeah, I'm definitely thinking that it's going to be like an Elder Scrolls Online style dealie.
You think it's going to be an MMO?
I think it's going to be an MMO.
Wow.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's where my head is at. But what I thought was really interesting about this one in particular is that it really did just give us a taste. And I was sort of like, I was the same as you guys. I was sort of thinking, well, what is this? What is this? And I'm really excited that we're going to find out so soon because Bethesda's conference is happening in a few hours.
I know.
Yeah.
It was a weird choice, actually.
That's why I was surprised to see Todd Howard there, and it's like, oh, they're going to reveal Fallout 76 ahead of their own conference, but no, they didn't really. They just gave us a little bit more of a tease.
Gave us even more questions. That thing that was flying in the sky just a second ago, that looks new. I'm not used to seeing flying enemies in Fallout, and this particularly interests me. This is the White House, question mark? And I'm assuming, and it's got this beautiful garden around it, and it all looks so pristine. A lot of the VO in the trailer spoke about needing to rebuild, so there was part of me that was like, what if it's just like a mass shelter builder?
Well,
like a mass open world rebuilding.
It's 4 times the size of Fallout.
Of Fallout 4.
Right.
I mean, that is really large.
Could be really cool as long as the world's actually filled with
interesting stuff.
Yeah, fun stuff to do in there.
I think that's my favorite thing about Fallout is actually that the open world, like you'll walk for 20 minutes in one direction and then come across a side quest that's just insane and super exciting.
Yeah.
So I'm not super worried about that, but I was wondering if maybe it'll have some kind of crafting elements to make it more like hanging out with your friends on a Minecraft server where you can all build different stuff around the open world. I don't know how likely that is, but I think I'd be cool with it. Did you guys mess with the shelter building?
That was like I did not mess with it at all.
Me either, but I know
was
that people
so
do like
by
it. I know people do like it. Some people say it's their favorite part of it.
A lot of people just got really stuck into it for like 50 hours, naming no names. It was totally me. But.
I love it in theory, and I love that. If that game exists, I love it in theory. It's just not for me.
Yeah, and I think this looks really colorful. The setting obviously doesn't look dramatically different. So one question I want to ask is, it's still a few years away for sure, but what would you guys want from Fallout 5? Because now I'm like, where would I want that game to even be set if it was that?
Yeah, I'm trying to think like interesting areas that we haven't visited yet. We've been on both sides of the coast, I guess.
Yeah, I imagine it has to be American. It's such an American game.
It has to be American. I just want to see a little bit more advancement, I suppose. Like we've kind of done the post-apocalyptic thing. It'd be great to go post-apocalyptic in the next setting. So
obviously this one's a prequel. Like Todd Howard confirmed that on stage. We kind of knew that anyway, but I think it's something like 20 years before the earliest game in the series being Fallout 1. So it is a prequel, and Everyone's obviously coming out of Vault 76, which, if you don't know, is a control vault, which basically means people in that vault weren't experimented on. There was about 500 people. I don't think that this is going to be a server with 500 people. But that's the idea, is that it's going to be a big old reclamation for the people coming out of that vault. And I don't know, just so many question marks.
Todd did confirm it takes place in West Virginia, which I think was just a theory before.
Because of the song?
Because of the song.
Yeah.
But now we know for sure.
We know for sure.
How do we feel about that?
Listen,
That's a cool area.
I'm from Australia. I don't know anything about West
I don't know anything either. Damon!
West Virginia is a beautiful country, pre-apocalypse.
Are there any landmarks there that we can look out for?
Well, I'm sure there are. I'm not from the area
We
myself.
don't have anyone here who knows anything about West Virginia.
We're all
like
just trying.
Geography. Well, we just talk about video games for a living. Don't ask me about America. I don't know anything about that. But I am definitely interested to find out more. And it seems like the community reaction has been, mostly people thinking it's Fallout 5, which, I'm not super sold on. But is there anything that you guys have had in the Fallout franchise that you desperately want to change, or anything you'd like to see different? Like, I would have loved to see a New Vegas 2. I would have really liked that.
I think a lot of people like that.
Yeah.
Or I would even love just like a remastered version of New Vegas to revisit that world.
Make it Skyrim. Just put it on every platform.
Yep. Yeah. Give New Vegas the Skyrim treatment.
Yeah.
I'd be fine with that. Bring New Vegas to the Switch.
Yeah.
Let it get on Switch.
Yeah, I think for me, as long as it maintains that, as you say, those like idiosyncratic like side quests where you just explore and it's just full of just crazy weird stuff to do.
Yeah.
That's what I'm after.
Vampire
that's what I
side
want.
quests.
Exactly. That's what I want
Give me
from
all of that
Fallout.
stuff. Yeah. Okay. So one other reveal that I thought was a pretty heavy hitter was Shadows Die Twice. I don't know what the actual name of the game was.
Sekiro.
Sekiro. There you go.
I actually wrote it on my hand.
Oh, nice. Very well prepared. I thought this one was crazy because it's a FromSoft game. When it was revealed at the Game Awards with that weird bone trap thing, everyone thought it was going to be Bloodborne 2. It's not, and it was on Xbox's stage. What did you guys think of this one?
I mean, I am so excited by this game. Like, what I love is that that tease that we got last year is actually his amputated arm.
Oh,
his
you're
arm
right.
prosthetic.
You're totally right.
So he had his arm amputated by this rival character that we see in this trailer, and that was actually a close-up of the prosthetic that he has. And I love this. I mean, it's so colorful. It's set obviously sometime sort of in the 1500s in Japan.
You're right. It is more colorful than a usual
so
FromSoft
much
game.
more colorful.
Bloodborne is basically just completely black and shiny.
Yeah.
This does look very, very different, but it does also look very Souls-like in combat, in boss fights.
It does, and I hate using this word, but it's like this sort of, it's quite kinetic, like that the way that the sort of sword play that we see in this trailer, it's brutal and fast and heavy. You can feel every hit. I also really love the fact that, you can sort of grapple around the world.
Yeah, he's doing some kind of free running.
Yeah.
Well, he's got this grappling hook.
That's
attached
part
to
of his arm?
prosthetic, and he sort of moves around this world like Spider-Man.
It's really cool.
I like that guy that
did he just vomit on
barfs
his
on
sword?
his sword. He's got a whole barf sword.
That's
Gotta
just
watch out for
unclean, man.
Yeah.
Yes, the boss barf sword, as he is known.
I think this looks really cool. I really like the fantasy Japanese setting. I like, you got some really cool monsters here. The only thing for me, the only question mark for me is I'm not really a Dark Souls Bloodborne guy. So if it plays just like that, that might not click for me. But I really like the mobility we're seeing here.
Well, that's a question, is maybe because of that added mobility, there'll be more option to evade fights. I could see that being a thing, especially since there is also, shots of him, like you said, like Spider-Man, Lucy, kind of just jumping out of the way. So I wonder if, even evading that, I think the combat looks faster. It's more Bloodborne in pace probably, but maybe there is a way for you to sort of avoid getting too close quarters if you want to.
Yeah.
Well, certainly, it takes a little bit of inspiration from Tenchu, which is another From Software,
which a lot of people wondered this might be.
Yeah, and that was, that had stealthy elements
Yeah.
in Tenchu, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see that return in this game as well.
So, question, because this was revealed today, do you guys think that Bloodborne 2 is still incoming?
No, because it's been confirmed that Miyazaki is directing this, so that means the core team
is working on
this.
In theory, someone else could direct it. You're crushing my dreams, Lucy.
Really, though?
Probably
Do
not.
we want
I think
anyone
people
else
would be
directing
pretty
it?
mad if it wasn't Miyazaki
Me too.
running it, but we're just crushing everyone's hopes and dreams.
I mean, I wanted to see Bloodborne 2 as well, but I'm also really happy with what we've seen today.
Seeing a new IP is always exciting.
Exactly.
Yeah. So as a not Souls fan, Damon, what could it do to really tie you over?
I would want a little bit more faster fluid, lighter combat system.
Yeah.
Dark Souls just feels a little plodding to me. I like the whole like aesthetic of Dark Souls and the really weird, gross monsters that you fight. Just, like, the game doesn't feel good to play for me. I know I'm in the minority there. I know you all love it.
You're allowed personal preference. I really love Dark Souls as well. Lucy, you do too,
I do as well, but you know, to your point, Damon, I came on board the Souls series with Bloodborne because the combat was faster.
Yeah.
And then I went back and played all the Souls titles.
Yeah.
So, you know, I
Maybe
can see
then
that...
Shadows Die Twice will be my entry point, and then I'll go back to Bloodborne.
That's
and then
right.
back to Dark Souls.
That's right. Just
and then to Demon Souls.
Yeah, completely.
Work your way back.
It's really intense.
People want a HD remaster of Demon Souls too.
Yeah, that's been rumored, actually. That's been rumored to be a part of the Nintendo conference. I don't know how likely that is. I guess we'll find out in the coming days.
That would be shocking.
It was probably just another 4chan leak that not really a huge thing.
Totally. But yeah, no, I mean, I would really like to see more people coming on board with From Software's like more recent games because they're just so beautiful and they're so good.
Yeah.
And they're so hard.
They really
But like, they're so rewarding. So yeah.
Like you're just expecting, like, say something.
I just want
Tell
you
me
to be
right
like,
now
I
that
just
you
want
will
to be
play
like,
it.
yes.
You want me to agree?
promise
Okay,
you.
yeah, I'll try Shadows Die Twice.
You said it live on air. Now you can't not play it when it comes out. Was there a release date? Did you guys see that?
It's just 2019.
Man, 2019 is already really becoming a huge year. So we got more
early.
February 22nd games. We have Crackdown, Days Gone, Metro.
Crackdown is just February, but yeah.
No, they confirmed 22nd.
Did they?
They did.
No
Really?
way.
Yeah, the Xbox account tweeted out February 22nd.
So the same day as Metro Exodus as well?
Yes.
And Days Gone.
And Days Gone. There was one other as
Yeah.
well.
The other one.
It's
Anthem.
Anthem.
Oh my, that's
What an
ridiculous.
insane
That's a
day.
joke. That's sarcasm.
Someone
Two
moved
of those
something.
games are going to blink and change and
I
get a
wouldn't
delay.
be surprised if some of them get delayed, but it's also even like, you know, being Xbox coming into this conference, I'm surprised they didn't just move Crackdown. Like,
Exactly.
I don't know how those marketing teams approach these kind of things. We do have Aaron Greenberg on the show coming up. Maybe we
Right
can
next,
find
yeah.
out from him. But
Yeah.
it's like, is
The
that not a point?
answers.
Where you see like February 22nd, oh, February 22nd, oh, February 22nd, let's move our game. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know how it works. I'm sure that happened, you know, a lot of games actually moved surrounding Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they had things planned. We're like, wait for Rockstar. Okay, let's move our game a little later or a little earlier. So it's really surprising to me that didn't work out that way.
Yeah. Wow. That's 4 big games on February 22nd.
It's an exciting day. Just so that everyone knows, IGN, I'm already calling sick that day. I'm going to have a cold. Damon,
Feel that
you
cold.
guys might be sick that day too. Sorry about that. None of us are going to be at work. But, related, it's time for another break, but stay right where you are because still ahead, we have Aaron Greenberg straight from the Xbox press conference.